I wanted to do a video about relationships, but I decided not to do a how-to. I am probably the last person to give advice on how to be in a relationship. I haven't had that much experience. So I decided that I would do a what not to do. On my very first date with my very first boyfriend when I was 14 years old, we went to the movies and we went to watch Fantastic Four. The movie's about to start and guess who turns up? My mum. That was so embarrassing. She was sitting just a few seats on that way and on the same aisle that we were sitting at, and she was watching us the whole time. She said after the movie, she goes, "Oh, I didn't know that you were watching that movie. It was totally by accident." But then I find out like a year ago that she meant to do it. She knew that I was going to see that movie and she needed to keep an eye on me. I just thought, geez, Mum, I'm 14 years old. What could I possibly get up to? My number one tip for a first date, depending if you've spoken about this previously and you've sort of decided that you like this, do not shove your tongue down their throat. It is not very attractive for a first kiss and you're playing tonsil hockey, or if you lean in for the kiss and the tongue touches the lips before they do. When you first meet a potential boyfriend or girlfriend, your first conversation should not be about previous relationships, previous boyfriends, girlfriends, anything about anybody you have ever dated before. That just totally ruins the mood. Do not talk about yourself constantly. It might be a little bit tricky to start up conversation, but if you can't really think of anything to talk about, just let them talk. Just wait until you get into the conversation. Generally, the first date and the first conversation is always going to be a little bit more awkward, a little bit like so, how you going? Yes. And don't expect a first kiss on your first conversation, on your first date. When you first meet someone and you're on your first date, do not talk about sex. That is a big no-no. And all of these tips that I've just given you all come from personal experience from a guy that I dated a few years back. Our first conversation was about his ex-girlfriends, how many there had been, what they'd done, and how many times he'd done it with them. Very, very unattractive to speak about that in your first conversation with the person. But if you are only looking for a one-night stand, then go right ahead. The guy that I have been speaking about, names will stay anonymous. I don't want to shame him on the internet. But a week after we had met, he was talking about our future. He could see a future with us. No. Generally, if a girl talks to a guy that way, the guy sort of runs for the hills. And I was a little bit, okay, what do I do? First relationship in a couple of years, I didn't really know what to do and how to take it. Also, he would text me constantly. Or if I hadn't sent him a text that day, he would send me a message and say, well, what's wrong with your phone? Like, why haven't you been texting me? And I'd tell him, well, I've been busy. Oh, but I've been doing stuff all day. Why haven't you been texting me? Needy. Needy, needy, needy. Nobody needs to get that many text messages all day, and that's what he was expecting. And I told him, listen, my day starts at 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, because I get up at 8 o'clock every morning and my carers help me get up and everything. Those of you who don't know, I am in a wheelchair, so it takes me a little while to get up, get ready, get dressed, everything like that. And then my day finishes at 8:30 when I get put to bed. So I take every little part of that day and do what I can do, mainly for myself, because texting somebody constantly all day is just going to take up a very short day that I don't have. Another tip that I have is do not be bossy, possessive and demanding. The guy I knew, he would give me rules. He gave me one rule: a girl is not allowed to use a toy because it is cheating on him. And you know what I mean by a toy. But I was like, go to hell. I didn't really bother me, but it was the fact that he decided that he wanted to give me orders and give me rules. It's like, okay, a relationship comes with trust, understanding, knowledge of each other, and it's not all complete commitment. It's like, that guy is with me and there is nothing else. That gets a little bit too in your head, you know? He would not allow me to talk to any other guy. I was not allowed to even speak to anybody. Friends, family, anybody. I was not allowed to speak to anybody about him. Yeah. At the end of this relationship, he broke up with me over a text message after sleeping with his ex-girlfriend. And he acted like I was the one who did something wrong. And whoa, I sort of realized like a week after this relationship ended, like I should have gotten out like first conversation. I've sort of learnt now that, oh shit, no. Don't get into a relationship of, and if any of that is going on in a relationship, get out. Honestly, it's just too much trouble than it's worth. I hope my tips have been helpful, and I'll see you next time.